both may want to have pen and paper near you so you can jot down some notes. Okay, and then just so you know, and I can get it to both of you, I'm asking for permission to record, and I'm putting up a replay. And also on there, I'm going to have, I just handpicked a few really cool recipes that I thought might be great, regardless of what holiday you're celebrating. And also there's a $50 coupon up there for Sugar Breakthrough. So, hey, Claire.
Hi, I can't what I just do?
We can see you perfect.
I can't see you at all.
Just switch tabs onto another tab. Okay.
Here we go.
So Claire, and I'm not going to be able to ask each person one at a time, but this is going to be kind of a blanket statement that I'm recording this video. So I just wanted to let you know. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, cool. I
would have done my makeup.
Oh yeah, well, I got a facial today. How cool is that? I never
do makeup done.
That. And I put makeup on. But I've had several people reach out to me asking for the recording. So as long as I have permission from everyone, I'll go ahead with that. Also, Claire.
Permission granted.
Thank you. I will put up on our Sugar Breakthrough on our Facebook page the link for you all to see the recording, but also to see those recipes. And Stacey, I'll send it to you if you want to see it also, because I've got some pretty good recipes. Some low-carb dessert recipes that we can use for the holiday. And also, I think one of the recipes is not a dessert recipe. It looked really good. It was low-carb cream spinach, because you know how they make cream spinach with flour. This is cauliflower. I know, it's a little surprising, right? They carb us at every corner. All right.
Today I made the cauliflower pizza for dinner. You know, one of the cauliflower brand cauliflower pizza. And I wanted to enter the nutritional stuff in my Fitness Pal. So I took a picture of it, and what pops up on my camera on the picture is the website.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a good little sales tool.
Yeah, you think? Jeez. Surprise. I'm looking at it, and there's a whole little link to the website.
That's pretty funny. Okay. Yeah. That's all good. That's all good. Okay, so let's kind of start with, I want to check in with you guys. Do you want a 5-minute meditation, or would you prefer to just jump right in?
I'll do a 5-minute meditation anytime. But if nobody else wants to, it's okay too. So.
Me too.
Okay, let's do it, because it'll help us, kind of get ourselves, calm. Okay, so let's sit back, both feet on the floor. It's time now to be quiet, time to be centered. Tune out the noises and distractions of the day, and tune into your heartbeat. Tune into your pulse. Everything is quiet except for the sound of your body. You breathe deeply in and out, and your heart pounds gently yet solidly in your chest. Feel the sound of your heart beating and allow it to carry you in a steady, measured, rhythmic motion. Hear your breath whoosh in and out, in and out. Tune into the rhythm of life as you close your eyes. Your heartbeat is steady, like the sound of a clock ticking. Your breathing is regular and deep, and your eyes are closed. The rhythm of your body carries you further and further into a state of deep relaxation. Imagine yourself carried into a meadow with mountains all around you. see yourself lying on your back in a protective cocoon, allowing your mind to wander, watching the clouds. As you drift in thought, imagine that a thunderstorm is approaching. You're safe in your cocoon as the clouds darken and warm rain begins to pour. But you can hear the clashing sounds of the storm and sense its enormous energy as bright flashes of lightning are quickly followed by a loud crack of thunder. Gradually, the rain lessens, and you notice the growing space between the lightning and the thunder. As the storm moves further away, you hear less and less noise. It grows progressively quieter as the storm moves into the distance. Feel yourself letting go as the storm passes. Let the quiet help carry you into an open, calm state of repose. As you drift into a state of relaxation, notice the freshness of the wet green grass and leafy trees. Having bathed in this experience, it's now time to awaken. You will awaken and open your eyes now, feeling relaxed and refreshed from your thunderstorm. Okay, how are we doing, guys?
Very relaxed.
Awesome. Joni's asking to come in the meeting, so she'll be coming in. She couldn't find the link. Okay. So just for goodness sake, let's each kind of, say our names, and why don't you just talk about in 1 or 2 sentences what brings you to the meeting tonight. So Stacy, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, my name is Stacy Reingold, and I actually wanted to come to the meeting tonight. I wanted to hear about the sugar, also with the holidays coming up, wondering if there any advice, about what shouldn't eat. So that's kind of what I want to just check in and see if you had any tidbits for us.
Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about that.
Yeah,
we're going to go through a whole little workshop. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, welcome.
Thank you.
Claire.
Well, I had a wonderful experience today. I got to try on something like 20 pair of jeans, so I found a pair that I liked. But
that's fun. Usually.
Well, it was a bit extreme, but that's what happens when you're short. I mean, there are a lot of reasons why. It wasn't just from losing weight, but it was fun. Right. It was actually not bad to look for a pair of jeans today. Okay. But actually, I've noticed myself kind of going in and out of not knowing what's going on, but and I don't want, when I say cheating, that sounds really like a big deal, but kind of slipping up a little bit here and there at the end of a long day if I'm around food too much during the day, or especially if I'm around food a lot at the end of the day. I'm having to focus on staying the path. It's not like I can't control myself. It's like, you don't really want that, do you? Or you haven't had that, you don't need it. I'm talking to myself a lot, so I'm just trying to, stay on the path, because next week, at the end of next week, not this Friday, but a week from Friday, we're going to New York. And, it's going to be a very special weekend, and I just want to make sure that I feel like I'm in control when I'm away. I'm not really worried about it. Traveling isn't usually a problem for me, but this is going to be interesting because there are, my son, daughter-in-law, and her parents have not seen me since I've lost weight,
Oh,
and
good. That's exciting.
that'll be fun. But it's also a matter of it's not a cheat. I don't view it. It's not. I'm not cheating anybody but me. So it's not really cheating. It's not paying attention, not focusing on what I'm supposed to focus on, and I really am working very hard on because I think, and I'm sure someone like Joni is going to agree. You get to the point where it's kind of second nature to do what you're doing properly. I mean, today I made the pizza, the cauliflower pizza, and I looked at it and I went, I really want some more protein. So I went in, I had some very thin sliced provolone cheese, and I put it on top of the pizza and it didn't add a lot of calories, but it did, add a little bit of calories and definitely some more protein. And, but it made it a little bit more flavorful. But
Okay.
I really wanted to make sure I was hyping up the good parts of the program when I can.
Sure.
So I just want to stay with that and be, on the upside of it. So,
Okay.
So
I want to just interject really quick because I realize that there might be a tiny bit of confusion. So this was our bonus meeting, and my primary subject matter tonight are the holidays. However, I'll make sure we kind of work in. I hear you, Claire. I hear what you're saying.
Well, I mean,
Casey,
that's going to be like a holiday for me. We're not doing that
Right,
much.
that's
weekend.
true.
And that weekend is going to be all eating out, all being celebratory.
Well, but I think we're going to be a little bit more specific. But this could help with any holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And Stacey, I heard you too. And Sugar Breakthrough. These are actually, you're on with all members of Sugar Breakthrough.
Right.
So when I send you that link, you'll be able to learn more about Sugar Breakthrough, and we can certainly get on the phone as well. Okay.
Sorry.
Liz, why don't you go ahead? Tell us what brought you to the call tonight.
Number one, just my brain is not functioning. The continuation of touching base with everybody.
Yeah,
but
also we have a week off of Sugar Breakthrough. Yeah.
But also the holiday piece. And you had mentioned that we would be having that included in this, and like Passover for me is just, it can be the easiest thing in the world because I only eat whole foods, but then I get into that place of, oh, but my memories of a kid and the matzah and whatever. So,
okay.
And then everybody is trying always to find me my, gluten-free goodies. And I keep saying, no, thank you, but nobody listens.
Got it. And that makes a lot of sense. Definitely, I hear you on that.
So,
well, especially at this time, so.
Yeah.
What was the question?
So just say hello and just tell us what brought you to the call tonight.
Just kind of like what Liz said, just kind of to stay connected. And I'm curious about like what you have to say about the holidays. I mean, luckily we can't eat any bread, and I actually keep it pretty strict. Passover, but like my go-to is like matzah with cream cheese and jelly. It is like I could eat like sheets and sheets of matzah with cream cheese and jelly.
I remember those days. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So it's like I need to kind of that's kind of like what I'm looking for, is just how to maintain what I'm doing, but just without so much matzah.
All right, and tonight I'm really hoping to kind of like motivate you guys. I mean, the spring holidays are here, and while we're not all celebrating or even observing the holidays, like this discussion can resonate with you in a lot of different ways. And it's going to give you sort of a framework that you can use that will apply to many things. So Claire, I think this will be really applicable.
Well, that's what I was hoping.
Yeah, if you feel like you're in kind of a funny place, I get it for sure. And today I'm going to be sharing 5 strategies that are going to help you all enjoy and appreciate the holiday without blowing your diet and waking up with regret. So let's dive in. So tell me, each of you, and you can grab your paper, because now's a really good time to grab that pen and paper if you have one nearby, or you can just think about it. Think about and write down what your goal for this holiday is. Now, Easter is one day, as far as I'm aware, and Passover, there's usually these 2 nights of a Seder, and then there's 8 days of, is it 8 days? There's 8 days of keeping the Passover, which is basically no legumes, no leavening agents, no grains. So go ahead and write down your goal for this holiday. I'll give you about a minute or so to write and really think about it. You can have more than one goal if you'd like. So let's kind of debrief really quick. What kind of goals did you write down?
I put down to stay aware, just to be paying attention.
Aware.
Yeah, to pay attention and not to use this, because I think we tend to, but since we're not doing too much of it other than Seder, other than on our own. I mean, you know, I keep it. My husband doesn't really. He's like, oh, you know, but is not to use it as an excuse for going off the plan. I mean, find things that work, that stay with the program, and use those items to make it work, rather than come up with something that you know down deep inside isn't appropriate.
Okay, that's a good one. Who else would like to share?
I was going to say how to be able to throw out food that no one wants, and instead of eating it. So like sometimes, you know, like after, I don't know, the 2 Seders, and then like, I don't know, 2 days later, we still have matzo ball soup and the kids don't want it. And so then I'll end up just eating it, or, you know, so how do I just say, okay, does anybody want this? And if everybody says no, throw it out and just be okay with wasting food than eating it myself.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Anyone else want to share?
So for me, it's kind of continuing on the clean eating, because if you don't eat matzah, then for me, it's like every other day, right? I kind of try and stick to everything else I've been doing, because there's nothing that's not Pesach that I do every other day, except I love chicken soup and matzo balls. I actually found a recipe with almond flour. So it's completely gluten-free and it's got almond flour in it, which I can have. So I'm going to make a bunch and I'm going to take them to my seders with me. So I'm going to take a couple for me and a couple for Megan, because Megan, my daughter's gluten-free, and it's I can share the recipe with you and you can share the recipe.
That'd be great.
People.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
So, yeah, we have
really,
a gluten-free person here. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so it's
Well, I was already. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Liz.
Yeah. What I was going to say is that I don't like using matzah meal, because it's already got the flour and everything in it. So I specifically looked for these almond flour ones, so that there's nothing really bad in them, you know. And then also just to normalize, to continue and to plan. I think planning is like with I was thinking about what do I really love and how can I find something to take its place? And that was the thing I really love. And I found that recipe, and I'm going to take with me. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, great. And I just want to say something really quick, Liz, before you go. I want you guys to be focused on goals and not strategies, just at this point. So really think about your goal. It's okay to really peel it back. Like, you know, your goal is to stay aware. Your goal is to get rid of that excess food so you're not eating it, to continue on with the clean eating, so it's not a rough week for you. Liz, what about you? Did you want to share?
For me, I want to stay on track.
Okay.
I once in a while I do indulge, but on the whole, I'm not. And so I really want to stay the course. And just because it's a holiday, yes, if I can find something that fits in appropriately and I can have it, great. But I've discovered over the many years of doing all of this is that, if I indulge, I'm done. So I just need to stay the course, stay on track.
Okay. You're bringing up a really good point. We'll dive further into it. But what you're really bringing up is that it's a very slippery slope. Just like Joni was saying,
Very.
you got the stuff in your fridge, you're having a little bit, it's just a little bit every day. And
Right.
then before you know it, you've just completely blown, your week. So that's a really good point.
Dead in the water.
That in the water, so just keeping up your hydration, is that what you're
No,
saying?
I dead in the water. So it's just, I'm done. It's over. If I just dive in one time, that's all it takes.
I know. I get it. I totally get it. So let's talk now about what outcome you can expect if you reach this goal. So here's another way to think of it. What will you have when you reach this goal? And this, I'm going to give you a few extra minutes because I really want you to dive in. I don't want to hear I'll be thinner. Let's not, or I'll be healthier. Let's dive in, get super specific about what the benefits are of sticking with the goal that you've stated.
You mean for this next week or in general, the long-term goal?
Well, this is interesting, Claire, because you could have yours apply to the holiday, but if you want right now, you can actually have yours applied to your trip to New York. This will work just as well. So, okay, so kind of let's rethink this for Claire. So Claire, first maybe write down your goal for New York and be really real about it. Really think about it. And guys, by the way, even after this call, you can spend more time with this. The more time you spend with this framework that I'm giving you, the more your chance of success. So Claire, you're going to start with the goal from New York, and then I want you to go into outcomes. Think about how you're feeling, how you're looking, how maybe your digestion, what are your pain points? What brought you to Sugar Breakthrough for those of you who are in it? What brought you to Sugar Breakthrough? What are you trying to achieve? Let's take another minute or so.
Together new ideas.
I can go, Stacy, if you're ready.
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So for me, the outcome would be to feel better and to fit into my clothes better. Also
feel better and fit into your, okay.
And then also for working out, to not have it be as difficult. I noticed, I actually have worked out a couple times this week because I'm on spring vacation. So, and I'm hoping to go tomorrow and then on Friday as well. So, but I was doing a run walk on the treadmill, and I noticed that the running part, and I don't know if it's because, I haven't stuck so much to where I want to be, planning and everything else, if that's why it's hard, or if it's because I'm just getting back into it. But I guess my 3 outcomes would be to feel better, not have that extra weight on, to fit into my clothes and to make exercising easier.
Okay, Joni, tell me more about feel better. What does feel better feel like to you?
Like I just don't have that extra weight hanging on me.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Don't have extra weight.
Like,
I want you to peel that back just a little bit more. What does it feel like when you don't have the extra weight on you?
I feel lighter.
Lighter?
I don't know. I guess it goes along with fitting into my clothes. Like I feel like I don't have to hide myself. Like I feel like I can wear something and it's okay, especially with the spring weather coming. Like I still feel like I want to be in my sweatshirts and like, you know, my jeans, because I can hide how I look. So I guess to feel better, it's just to feel, I don't know. Does that answer your question a little
Yeah,
bit?
it almost sounds like it feels like you'd be, you know, wanting to wear more like form-fitting clothes because you can kind of reveal your body as opposed to hiding it with big heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you're on the treadmill, and in answer to your question, I'm sure it's both. I'm sure you're just getting back into shape.
Right.
And, you know, perhaps you know, as you lose more weight, that part is, you're going to get lighter and more energetic.
Yeah.
But it's going to kind of work together also.
Right.
But, okay. I think that's a good start for you.
I'm
Claire.
also, I've done some form of working out most of I have to say it honestly, since around when my kids were born. So that's at this point most of my life. But I'm really trying to get into some of the stuff Joni's talking about, get on the treadmill, do some of this other thing. I mean, I do something almost every day anyway. But I also think that if I would be a little more focused on doing things I haven't been doing, mostly cardio, I probably would have a little more help getting closer to my goal, you know, because I would burn more calories doing it. But it's
well, let's stick to outcomes. What benefit will you get by, your goal was a New York goal, right? What was your goal for New York?
Well, my goal for New York is to not think about food, you know, every time it comes up, to be able to get where I really can, but I'm a little apprehensive because I'm on this plan, and because you know, it's all going to be out. You know, we're going to be out the whole time. You know, I just want to make sure that I have some mental, well, I don't know if it's goals or I understand certain limitations that are ways I can adapt elements of the program or our plan to not having a kitchen, you know, not being able to prepare my own meals, not actually necessarily being able to pick my own restaurants. You know, when you're with six or eight people, you're not going to be able to say, will you always go where I want to go? That's not fair.
Right.
Absolutely. And it's unrealistic.
Okay, so in one sentence, give me your goal.
Well, I wrote down to stay aware and to maintain my goal, which is
your goal weight.
My goal weight.
Okay.
And don't use a trip as an excuse to overeat or eat badly.
Okay, that's a good one.
Well, with holidays, it's the same thing.
I agree. And what is your outcome? What outcome can you expect from that goal?
Well, if it goes well, I will be either not farther or closer to my goal. I don't expect necessarily, it has happened when I've traveled, but with this kind of a trip, even it's really short, it's only 4 days, but because of the nature of the trip, I don't think it's really somewhere where I'm going to be able to, let's say, make good enough decisions to lose weight in this weekend. But I think that I should be able to stay the course.
Yeah, so maybe
we went out last night.
A goal when you're traveling,
we went out last night to a place where I would have never thought it would be as easy as it turned out to be to stay focused. You know, what you said last week, last meeting about telling the a waiter to prepare food a different way. They had a flounder dish. We went to my God, I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, we went to an Italian restaurant and they had flounder, but I asked to just have it grilled. Now, did have butter on it, but to have it grilled and not to have the pasta, not to have potatoes. And I asked for it with steamed vegetables, which they acknowledged, and it worked.
Beautiful.
We went to
That's great.
Francesca's North, yeah, and I just changed, not the dish, but the combination on the plate.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Who else would like to share outcomes? Stace
I'll go.
Oh,
or
okay.
Liz?
Just go ahead.
Stacey, we'll start with you.
So for me, it's like a feeling, a sense of accomplishment, like staying in control. Kind of that discipline that I find sometimes hard when you in the moment to actually kind of let it go. So for me, that's what I want to feel. That's how I would, I want that sense of accomplishment. I think by staying in control and just feeling that I've actually been able to be in control of my decision making, not stress eating, not being peer pressured into doing things, it's just a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So that's what my,
Okay, I love it. Sense of accomplishment, being in control of my decisions. One thing you might want to think about as, if you continue this workshopping after this call is, what does being in control of your decisions feel like? And a sense of accomplishment, like what does that mean for you?
So for me right now, it means my strategy for doing that. If I feel like I'm going to want something sweet or I'm stressed, I'll just breathe. I've actually associated breathing with my decision making on food. I stop, breathe in 4 times. I hold that Dr. Wild breathing, hold it for 7, out for 5, and I do it twice. And it's amazing how it just changes because it stops you immediately. Before I would say, oh, I'm not going to have this today. And the minute I felt stressed or I was tired, I would like go to the cupboard and look for cooking chocolate. But now that I've managed to kind of attach the breathing to that, then I don't do that anymore. I breathe, and even wherever I am, I could be in a coffee shop and I just sit quietly and look at the croissants and not have them. You know what I mean? So that's
I love it. I love the power of the pause. Just breathe.
Yeah,
love
exactly.
Liz, what about you?
I think I just want to feel comfortable in my own skin.
Love that.
For me, I'm really. It's not having everything feel too tight and uncomfortable. It's not struggling when I bend down to tie a shoe, or to, run up the steps quickly if I need to. I'm desperate to get back into exercise, but I still have 2 to 5 weeks left. So I'm really struggling with that, but I'm working on just also trying to get back to a more regular practice of meditation so that I can just be able to pause. Like you said, the power of the pause.
That's great. That is really great. So lastly, well, not second to last, I want you guys to really identify your challenges. Joni, you were thinking back how, there's leftover soup and then you just find yourself eating it because you don't want to throw it out. So why don't you guys take just a minute or so, but you can continue this after the workshop. Go ahead and write down the challenges that have typically come up in the past, challenges you're anticipating. Maybe there's something new going on with the holidays, or Claire, something you're anticipating with your, like you were saying, you're with a big group, you may not be always able to choose it. So I want you guys to really start listing those obstacles and do a brain dump. Do a brain dump right on that piece of paper. What are your obstacles? And what do you typically struggle with during a holiday or during travel? Get super specific. You can look up when you feel like you're done with your initial brain dump.
That was very telling.
What do you mean? Although I can't see
It's Liz.
All right, now I want to show you guys something. This is another strategy that I use during holidays. And for me, really thinking about, it's not that we're all so religious, although some people may be, and it doesn't matter what holiday you're celebrating. It could be the spring holidays, it could be Christmas, it could be Hanukkah, it does not matter. At the end of the day, what I try to do to prepare for a holiday is also to put a little bit of thought into the meaning of the holiday. So let me share my screen and show you what I mean. Can everyone see this?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a quote from Eva Schultes, and she says, Passover is about liberation, about moving from a place of darkness into light, from the degradation of slavery into the full embrace of freedom. It is possible to vanquish that which holds you down and get to the other side. So tell me, and again, it doesn't matter what you're celebrating. This is not really a religious discussion, but taking the time to think about the meaning of a holiday, tell me if this quote resonates with you in your personal life and how so.
I think that the liberation part is something that I struggle with.
In what way, Liz?
Well, I think I need to redefine liberation.
It's interesting.
When I think about it in terms of Passover, it is freedom, but the piece of me that wants to be able to be free to do whatever I want to do as far as eating, for example, since that's what we're talking about. But that's truly not liberation. That is, for me anyway, it's sickness, it's poor health, it's feeling sluggish. So I think that I need to rethink what liberation really is, and that it's not really the freedom to do whatever you want, but it's the freedom to do what you need to do, if that makes sense.
If you guys don't mind, I'm going to share another quick quote I found that I thought it was great, but I don't know who said it. So this is the quote. If you are not eating something in order to care for your physical health, the rabbis allow it. The whole point of ritual is to live by it, not die by it.
Yes, exactly.
Isn't that a good one?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
I mean, if we're doing things, and I don't care what holiday we're talking about, you know, if you are pigging out on Christmas cookies, or you are just overdoing the desserts at, you know, Easter, it doesn't really matter. The bottom line is that you're whoever your God is, whatever higher power, whatever spiritual calling you have, a holiday is meant to lift you up, not bring you down. And when you're using tradition as an excuse to eat off plan, make yourself sick, take yourself away from your goals, lose confidence, you know, all that kind of stuff, get physically ill, and you're not really understanding the importance of that holiday. Other thoughts about this quote before we move on to the next quote, the next meaning of a holiday? Okay, I'm going to move on then. This was said by Deepak Chopra. The symbolic language of the crucifixion is the death of the old paradigm. Resurrection is a leap into a whole new way of thinking. I mean, we all know that Easter is about resurrection. It's really about sort of having another chance, do you think? How does this quote relate to your personal journey?
I would have to, for me, this is actually kind of interesting. The thing that stood out for me is the resurrection is a leap into a whole new way of thinking, the last part. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, let me use this next week before we start our next breakthrough to really focus on, you know, because I can't eat the bread and the carbs, to really focus on kind of my new way of thinking and kind of get back into, I don't know, how I was at the first 2 weeks of our session. Does that make sense?
I'm not 100% sure I'm following. So
go ahead. I guess what I'm saying is like this week I'm going to use as like a leap into my new way of thinking of instead of just saying, oh, a little thing here, a little thing there, you know, really like I liked what Stacy said about taking that deep breath, and like what you said, Stacy, about the what did you say? The power of the pause. Yes. And just, you know, really kind of try to get thinking that way and use this as a new way of thinking, and to just say, okay, yeah, this like sweet matzah kugel that I bought to have at the Seder, I know it's delicious. I've had it like, you know, for the last 5 years or whatever. But in a new way of thinking, say, I know I love this, but it's not for me right now. You know, and so it's kind of like that resurrection of like thinking a different way and using that power of the pause or the breathing to kind of say, yeah, I've had this before, but I don't need it right now, kind of thing.
Yeah, and looking at freedom and rebirth as like kind of like what Liz was saying, like liberation as the opportunity to make the choices that are best for you. You've had that sweet kugel or whatever a gazillion times. There's nothing new in there.
Right.
But you have the freedom to choose if that works for you right now. It'll always be there. It's kind of like what we talked about during Sugar Breakthrough, the whole idea of, you know, having a little versus having a lot. What are those words? They are like escaping me. Abundance versus scarcity. Like these things are always here.
Well, and I think that I think that also has a lot to do with liberation, because liberation is setting someone or something free because they were imprisoned or oppressed or, you know, slaves, right? So that's where you really get those feelings of scarcity when before your liberation. And then after the liberation, everybody, you know, it's supposedly you end up having things in abundance, but that's where you really have to be careful about the liberation, because if you partake in too much of the abundance, then you get yourself in trouble too.
Yeah, but I feel like that kind of behavior doesn't come from an outlook of abundance. I do feel that it comes from an outlook of scarcity, and I'll tell you why. Because it was sort of like what Joni said, and something I've said to myself a gazillion times. Oh my God, that matzo ball soup is so good. I only get to have it once a year. I only get to have that cocoa once a year. I need to have it. As opposed to, well, in reality, you can have those things at any time. So the deeper question is now the right time for you? The answer may be yes, or it may be no.
But Steph, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So I'm just getting back to the soup analogy thing. I do agree. I think this quote of Deepak Chopra is amazing, and it's correct. And that leap into a whole new way of thinking is being flexible and not being closed-minded, and kind of trying to open up your mind to different things. But sometimes it's hard, you know what I mean? And the holidays are hard. So if you find a way or a way of doing things that fits into your lifestyle, or changing something, or doing things in moderation. I'm just asking the question because because we're having this discussion. How does one, then couldn't you have it? An example, finding out what kind of things you can eat and changing them up.
I think that's a great strategy. There are a lot of strategies. Should we move into that, guys? Is that okay? Okay.
I don't want to, sorry, I don't, if you're not done, I'm sorry, I just wanted to ask the question.
So your question is, I think what you're really asking is there a way to have some of these favorites and fit them in? Is that correct?
Right, because I think moderation is so important. And I think when you talk about not having an abundance of things, having too little, and then you're sitting at a table with all this food around you, won't you feel more satisfied if you can have chicken soup and a matzo ball, but then leave the sweets alone, because that's got sugar in. That's a no-no. But if you kind of try the other stuff, you know what I'm saying, and then by that time you're full. But if you got to sit there and not have the chicken soup and not have that when everyone else is eating, I'm kind of wondering about that. I'm just thinking about it. And I think you're right.
I agree. I think that's a great strategy. So you're kind of picking and choosing which feels most important to you.
Oh, yeah.
Let me give you a few food facts, okay? So Passover is unique because there are two Seders.
Yeah.
And some people feel very strong about participating in the Seder. And that's, of course, these are all personal choices.
Yeah.
But let me give you, just so you know, because information is power, and I'm not telling you a right or wrong strategy. I'm encouraging you to think for yourself and make your own best choices. So here's a Passover Seder stat. 1 piece of matzah, 1 cup of matzo ball soup with 1 matzah in it, 1/4 cup of harotzis, and 1 piece of gefilte fish from a jar. Guess how many grams of carbs is in just
I can't
the
imagine.
Does not include dinner or
A million.
I would say probably a couple of hundred.
Okay, no, it's not that high, but it is 88 grams.
70?
Really, that's all?
That's a
I'm
lot.
surprised.
That's a lot.
Well, but 88 is probably a lot more than many of you are eating right now. So knowing that, I do think, Stacy, it's very possible to fit together those puzzle pieces about what feels most important. And at the same time, you don't want to go too high that you're going to set yourself up because as we know, it's a very slippery slope when you start consuming all these foods, especially within like a 2-day period. You've got 2 seders back to back. You don't want to wind up on day 3 like with all these cravings. I mean, how easily do cravings come back? And yet, I agree with you that, yeah, I could probably get matzo ball soup anytime I want, but in this case, I am going to be making it homemade.
And there's the pressure.
I make really good soup, I gotta say. Yeah. What did you say?
But that's it. Have it homemade, and then there's also the pressure of going out and sitting at a table of people and then saying, well, why aren't you eating? Why aren't you doing this? That's why I'm going to make those matzo balls and take them with. So I don't have to feel like first of all, I can eat them. And secondly, and they're healthy for me. So everyone else can have what they want to have. And then I won't have anything else until the main course where I can choose a protein and vegetables and then not have a dessert. And I don't feel uncomfortable because I've discussed this with you before. I find the pressure of that, of people saying, why aren't you doing this? Why can't you do this? And I don't want to explain it because otherwise you get into a whole thing with them and everyone's got their own opinion.
Whole conversation.
And they've all
that is a whole other conversation. But I will say in relation to our quotes, in my eyes, liberation means being able to make choices that are best for me because I don't know anyone a damn thing. They're not the person that has the stomach ache and the underlying constipation that I do.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I don't really care what other people think about my diet. I'm just going to say that.
No, I agree with you, and I feel the same way.
And if it bothers you, or if people, maybe you have some pesky people that do kind of bug you, I hear what you're saying. There's no question about it. Yeah. Now, just to give you a few other stats, a green bean casserole, pretty common for, especially for Easter. Actually, only 12 grams if you divide the recipe by 8. A kosher kugel for Passover, like an apple matzah, it's a 60-gram piece. I don't know. I can picture how big it is, but I can't tell you exactly. 13 grams. It's not that bad. Flourless chocolate cake from Whole Foods is 28 grams. 1 piece of matzah, and you have to look because now they make a whole bunch of varieties, but it's approximately 21 grams per sheet.
Oh my God.
It's pretty hefty.
Well,
hot cross buns, that's a really common like Easter thing. 1 bun has 54 grams of carbohydrates. And I don't know if I'm saying this right, but simnel cake.
1 bun?
1 bun, 54 grams.
Oh my gosh.
And the simnel cake, which is another popular one, is 24 grams. So as you can see, like individually, they're not so bad. But again, you bring up the really good point about perhaps a great strategy for you might be picking and choosing what you're going to work into your plan and going a little bit over on those days because it's special. Easter is a 1-day thing. Passover, the actual Seders is only a 2-day thing. And you could actually decide, because everybody knows what's being served.
Right.
You know, there's really not a whole lot of surprise for a lot of holidays. We all kind of know the basics of what our
tradition.
Serves.
It's a tradition.
Exactly. So you really could work backwards and figure out your day. So eat accordingly. Don't come to that Seder. Don't come to that Easter dinner hungry. I would never do that. Yeah. But you could still work around it and plan your day. But in my opinion, fasting is probably not the way to do it because you're really going to be overloading yourself if you do it.
Daisy, I have a question. So I have a question. So you said before, you said like 1 piece of matzah, 1 matzo ball, gefilte fish. I didn't realize gefilte fish has carbs.
Well, yeah, that's
got sugar in it. Yeah.
Is it not?
And you know, I actually figured this out. I want to say this was from last year or the year before. So I may have just looked on a jar,
Yeah.
but I guess we should notice, I don't think it's that high in carbs. I may have put it in there because I know it's part of the ceremony where many of us, not everyone, but a lot of people eat it. I know I do. I don't think it's that high in carbs though.
Okay, because
But
that's something.
double check me.
Yeah, I have it right.
I'm looking here.
I have it.
It says one piece of gefilte fish is about 3.1 grams.
Okay, that's
So
not
what
bad.
would that be? No, not that. Oh, 42 grams carbs.
Wait. You mean 42
Wait.
grams in weight?
It says one piece, which is 42 grams in grams. It says 3.1 grams total carbohydrate.
Okay.
That's not bad.
That's
I have a
good.
jar right here.
Okay.
Oh, good.
It
Everyone's
says
reading jars.
total carbs is 5 grams.
Okay. So
But the
it
one-
does have a little bit, maybe it's not terrible, but once again, my whole purpose is pointing out how all these little things can add up, and I just don't want to see you guys, because we don't have our next call until Sunday the 27th, because
I won't be. Yeah, and I won't be here.
Oh, and you won't be there.
Yeah, right.
But you'll listen to the recording, Claire.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it can all really add up. So you want to make sure that you're doing a little bit of planning. Do you guys agree? Is that like a doable strategy for you?
I think for me, because I'm going to be, I mean, this weekend is what it, we're actually going to Wildfire because we have a teeny group, and to do for either, for two of us to do the whole meal, prepare the whole meal was like not happening. But my question would be, and I'm not worried about eating out. My question is, I really like matzah. How can I figure using some of it? I did buy the lower calorie one. I don't know what it is, but it is lower in carbs and lower in calories.
So matzah is basically, think of it like an add-on
It's
carb, Claire. If you go
Okay.
back to your sugar breakthrough plan. So what would you think about trying to just have a half a piece? But you're treating it like once you get past a Seder, if you're keeping it and you want to incorporate some matzah for
Right,
the week,
I do.
you have to just keep in mind that a full piece is really an add-on carb. So if you're having that, plus you have like high fiber cereal normally,
Well, I won't be
yogurt,
as much,
the
right.
berries, like again, you may see it on the scale if you don't plan around it. So knowing that's an add-on carb, what adjustment could you make?
Well, the point is that I don't, for instance, it would be something I may want to have at lunchtime instead of having, something else. I might want to, to me, a third of a piece of matzah is matzah. I mean, I don't need to eat a whole sheet of it to have,
Good point.
To have some.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
if I can put peanut butter on it or something like that, or cheese, and it's a little, melt some cheese on it, it's a little bit of a meal. And it's
Sure.
a bit of a treat. And I don't need to have.
I just hope it will fill you and you won't find yourself like getting back to the grazing, going
Well,
back.
the thing is I just have to fill myself with other foods,
Well, I think you should have like a well-rounded lunch. I mean,
Right.
And this goes even for Seder, you guys. When it comes to dinner time, start with the cleanest protein on the table. I know I'm going to make like something really clean for all of us. I'm making like a pretty healthy meal because that's what I do. And, let someone else spend all day cooking if they don't like it. That's my theory.
How many people are you having?
It's a small crowd. I'm only having 7, which is very small for me because I usually have around 30 people at my house, but I purposely kept it small this year. But, when you think about it, a clean piece of protein. Now, I want to keep bringing in Easter because that's important too for people. And, ham is generally a great choice. If you're loading it up with sugary toppings, just like a brisket, what I would do is I'd go to my Fitness Pal and I would go into recipe and I would make the recipe, be realistic about serving sizes, and then you'll have to plan accordingly. But I would definitely, if you can, try to grab a clean protein and a clean vegetable as really the majority of your plate. And the other stuff can just be like, you know, a tablespoon of kugel, a tablespoon of, what are your thoughts?
I have lots of thoughts right now.
Tell me.
So just to go back to our sugar breakthrough, broccoli and cauliflower, those are add-ons, right?
No,
Oh, they're not
but
add-ons.
they're not add-ons because they're just, you know, when it comes to vegetables, I want you guys to definitely load up on vegetables. But those you do have to be aware. The only thing I tell you, don't worry about it, is that list with leafy greens, low carb veggies. You can make like a big salad from it and not worry about it. And you can serve that as part of your meal also. I'm definitely going to make like a basic salad.
I do.
But,
Yeah.
and I'm going to bring a basic salad because one night I'm going out. But what you could do if you're having like a cruciferous vegetable, just know that each cup is around, like with fiber and stuff, it's around 4 grams. So again, not a huge amount, but you're having vegetable, you're having matzah, you're having, you know, all these things add up.
Where does Haroset fit in?
Haroset is lower. Well, Haroset
Because
in every recipe is a tiny bit different, but I can tell you because I have it written right here. Haroset approximately for like a basic quarter cup of a Haroset. Don't forget it's made with apples and wine, but I'm not even as worried about the wine. But it's 6 grams of carbs per quarter cup.
Oh, that's so sad. I love it.
I just looked up
I love
matzah. I
Haroset.
can't believe the matzah's 28 grams for one sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It was 21
That-
actually
I'm looking at
for what
that-
I looked at, but you have to look at your own brands. They're all going to be.
Well, the Yehuda one, I just looked at that. I
Mhm.
just came up and it said 28 grams and the gluten-free is 22 grams, which is also high.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Matzah is just all carbs, you guys.
Yeah,
And I want to say one other thing when it comes to this holiday in particular of Passover. Just because something says kosher for Passover doesn't mean it's kosher for sugar breakthrough.
That's right.
A
Yeah,
cake is
of
a
course.
cake. A cracker is a cracker, whether it's a matzah, a tam-tam, you know, gluten-free, kosher for Passover brownies are still brownies. So you really have to keep that in mind.
So Stacey, like one thing for me is I typically, like I eat a lot of gefilte fish during the holiday. I should probably stay away from it because it is so high in carbs.
I mean, it's not really that high, but I guess when you think about 5 grams and it's not that big, gefilte fish, I mean, it's primarily protein, but it might actually be an equal amount of protein and carbs, right?
Right. It's like 5 grams of protein, 7 grams of protein with 5 grams of carbs. And the one that I have actually has sugar in it too.
Yes, some of them do have sugar.
So I'm like,
I mean, you may want to pick a night of just kind of allowing yourself in limited quantity with a planned amount to enjoy the Seder. And maybe the other night you're going to be a little bit more careful.
yeah.
And I want you guys to notice, and we will talk about this on April 27th, a week from Sunday when we start up again on Sugar Breakthrough. But I want you guys to notice, do your cravings come back? Did it come back after a Seder or a week of Passover? Did it come back after Easter? Did it come back, Claire, with maybe little bits here and there while you're traveling? Let's talk about that. That can be a really good, although we're really going to be starting with the sugar detox. So, but I am going to want to hear how that goes.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, Stacey.
Then I have
So what do people love about matzah? I'm rhetorical question. Is it the crunch or is it that it's satisfying? So I have a question about this. You know that those that Siete brand, Siete, S-I-E-T-E. There's a Siete brand, you get at Sunset, and it's made from almond flour, tapioca flour, salt, pepper, and xanthan gum. And I don't know if those are kosher for Passover or not. But I'm kind of wondering if that's not something, and the carb count for 2 of them is 20 grams or something. So I'm kind of wondering if you'd make them crispy and you have those with food, would that satisfy a craving? And is it possible to have that? I don't know. It's
I think it's more about the science when it comes to that kind of stuff. And
yeah.
Stacey, we talk about this a lot in Sugar Breakthrough, but we talk about once you get to the point where you're very consistently tracking, and these guys, some of them are a little further along than others, but once you get to the point where you know your personal level of carb tolerance, so you know that breaking point where you're eating too many carbohydrates, the scale is going up, your cravings are going up. So to me, it's really more about how many carbohydrates can you tolerate? Because you don't want this holiday to lead you on a terrible path. There is nothing wrong with eating and enjoying a holiday. What I'm most concerned about is where is that slippery slope for you? And I think it's something good to start noticing.
Right.
And by tracking it, I know I sound like a broken record, but by tracking it, you will have the carb count, and you will know how you feel the next day. If you're starting with all these cravings, you should be noticing what that carb count was.
Right.
So you know then that it's too high for you.
Yeah.
I have another question, Stacey.
Sure.
Where does chicken soup fit in? I know we've gone back and forth about the chicken soup and the matzo ball, but what if you have it without the matzo ball?
I think it's great. It's just chicken and fat. It's protein and fat.
So it's totally.
You definitely have it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I usually I buy it. I do not make chicken soup.
Okay. So easy to make.
I know everybody says that, but I just
make it in your slow cooker.
I don't have a slow cooker, but I should take a course on making chicken soup. But so I just buy it at the kosher.
Well, we have a guest coming in to talk about quick and easy cooking, and I may ask her to just incorporate some slow cooker ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Her.
So I doctor it up by putting some vegetables in it.
Mm-hmm.
But so just having that with some, without the matzo ball is totally doable.
Totally doable. And if you're having a few nights of Seder, why not do that one of the nights?
Yeah. I could even do that too.
Yeah.
Unless you want to give it, it's all about what you want to do, how you want to balance.
Yeah.
Okay. You can also make them, I'm just thinking this, I know you go into a restaurant and the matzo balls are huge, but there's no reason you couldn't make smaller matzo balls if you're doing the cooking.
That's a very good point, Claire.
For a couple of different sizes,
super good point. And you know what you could do? Put the recipe into MyFitnessPal and then put the number for servings. It's the number of matzo balls that you ate. And then you're going to know exactly what you're eating.
Yeah.
Matzo ball is my favorite part of Passover. So that.
Do you like them fluffy or do you like them fluffy or have the other kind?
In my family, they're super hard, but my mom made them so hard that I got to let up on that a little too hard. All right, guys. So I will put the link to this where I have some recipes.
Good.
And it'll be on the recording, but you just got to give me a little time because I got to create the recording. I'll put it on our private Facebook group. Stacey, I'm going to send it to you. And I know you wanted to learn more about Sugar Breakthrough, and just really quickly, I'll just tell you how we work just really fast. But basically, now that you've experienced the group coaching, you can see it's really all about learning and support and inspiration with women who are just like us. Group coaching is where we master and implement new information, skills, new ideas, new tools. And Sugar Breakthrough is small group coaching. So it's the perfect mix of personal attention and group coaching. And every member gets, a session with me. And I've had members that don't even use them because they just feel really well cared for. But we do meet once a week. Jammies and coffee are always welcome. It's a Saturday morning, 8 o'clock as of now, but that can change according to member wishes. And that's the scoop. And there's a $50 coupon in there.
Thank you.
So that'll be in the link. Okay,
Thank you
guys,
so
any
much.
closing thoughts?
Thank you.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
Thank you.
Eh,
Happy holidays,
Sameach.
everyone.
Happy holidays.
Happy
Have
holidays.
some
Absolutely. Take
Bye.
care. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.